Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hey,
David, you just outdid yourself on that. That was great.
I'm so excited. I'm actually a little nervous because we have a really great guest on here. We're going to talk for a little bit. Our guests are starting to file into the room, but we're very excited. Today we have the president and CEO of c21 joining us. Mike will be with us. He's already in the waiting room. He's just listening with his earbuds in and I think he's up in New Jersey right now. But so what's going on, Dana? What's happening today?
Not much. I'm really excited too. I know that you met Mike when you were out there at the 121 event.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I know him because we've been doing the corporate's done such a fabulous job with the broker huddles and the workplace and getting out so much information. So I think that I've been on a webinar with him once or twice a week for the past month. So.
Probably, one of the most approachable people in the world. I met him out in La Quinta, and I feel like I'm talking right in front of him because he's in the room. Let's just bring him in. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Are you up in New Jersey?
I am. And believe it or not, they say in New Jersey, April showers bring May flowers, but we've actually got sunshine today, which I'm really thankful for. So I am here. It's probably a little colder here than it is down there, but happy to be with you guys. David and Dana, thanks so much for having me on.
No, it's really, I think it's amazing that for such a big company that we're able to have such direct, contact with, the folks that really have a say, make our a say in our decisions and our business and all that. So it's great to have you here. So let me, Dana, we're going to start with some questions here. My questions are written down. One of my neighbors actually wrote me some questions. She saw me on House Hunters many years ago. I moved her into the neighborhood. Now she follows us up. So it says, let's see here. What do you know about mortgage companies being under different guidelines to accommodate for the fact that most people haven't worked in 6 months? Have you heard anything about that?
So I think there's a lot going on in the mortgage world right now. I think I just saw yesterday that NAR was kind of making an appeal to FHA and Fannie and Freddie about, guidelines and restrictions and, trying to keep, I guess, money really loose and flowing into the real estate community, right? And I think, the mortgage companies have to do what they believe is right so that, people can obviously pay on their mortgages and do everything they need for to run their businesses, right? But I do think that there's kind of a fine line and a balance. And, we're in uncertain times right now, David. And so I think the mortgage companies are trying to figure it out. And what's great is that, this industry is really coming together to find out what the right solutions are for home buyers and sellers as well as business. Because, we don't want to put people in mortgages that they can't afford or otherwise be able to service. And we want to make sure that we're setting people up for success and getting them the money they need for when the right time to purchase a home is. So, I think the great news is you see the industry really coming together to work with one another to make sure that we're doing the right things moving forward here.
I hope so. I mean, we've been very lucky, I think, at least with our office, that we've slowed down a little bit, but other than one or two deals, most everything it may have been pushed a little bit, but overall, Our buyers have been able to complete their transactions, and we're still getting loans out there. We're still able to show homes cautiously and with everything. Oh, I got to show you this. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. One of our agents, this is a new.
That's awesome. Brilliant. Brilliant.
It's hanging on my door
look,
yesterday.
And look, guys, first and foremost, I always say it, I think the people are the most important part and probably the best part of the Century 21 brand. And first of all, thank you. I know you guys have been with the Century 21 brand for so long and have been servicing home buyers and sellers down on the Florida marketplace, Central Florida, for many, many years. And so I appreciate, you guys stepping up into this elevated leadership and ownership role inside the organization, but also wanted to thank you for what you're doing, for bringing information and news to not just your salespeople, but the community at large, which I think is probably the most important thing we can do as real estate professionals, as people serving the community. And for you guys to be doing this is fantastic. And, I just think it's a great value to everybody.
We're having fun doing it too. I mean, it's actually, we started, it's kind of started out as a whim. It started out with Dana being on Facebook, and I'm like, Dana, I want to be on Facebook with you, but she was hogging the screen. So I figured out this program here, and we kind of created our own little studio. And we've had our personal trainers have been on here, our lenders, our title companies, and everybody that wants to come on board. So it's been a lot of fun, but
so think about how far out ahead you guys are, right? I mean, this is like the new day and age. Like as of 6 weeks ago, this is the way people are communicating, but you guys have been doing it forever, right? You've embraced technology. You've embraced the new world. So.
Right. Well, it was, luckily we did. It was kind of, I was reading something the other day that just said, a month and a half ago, we didn't know what Zoom was, and it's our daily, lifestyle now. But I just want to follow up with what you said, Mike, in terms of, this really has come from the top down, and that's what good leadership is all about. Right at the very beginning, Jared James, who is a longtime supporter of Century 21, great guy. I was watching a facilitated Century 21 thing with him, and he just kind of challenged us, get the content out, do all that. And I was like, okay, I got to grab it by the strap. So we just got to go out to our agents and you're right. It is all about the people, and it's all about taking care of our people so they can go out and take care of the people in the community. So thanks for your leadership, top down. It means
absolutely. I appreciate that. And I started off talking about that leadership by you guys, putting safety first, right? Safety is first and foremost for your sales professionals, for the people inside your organization, for the community, for the clients that you're serving. And I love the Century 21 mask. It's a great branded mask, but that's first but there's still business to be done. And that's what great leaders do, is they instill that confidence by getting that knowledge and that power out there. So thank you.
So we had a question from one of our agents, actually, Deanna Balzarek. She's been with us for quite some time, and her question was, can you foresee what our COVID protocol will ease? Look into that crystal ball, or that's a tough question, because it really depends on where you are.
Yeah, it does. So I'm here in New Jersey, which is, New York, New Jersey, kind of been the epicenter for a lot of what you see from a count and a numbers perspective. And we were probably, outside of California, the first ones really deep into this. I think this unfortunate disease and pandemic is forcing us to be more effective and more efficient as, I think, an industry. We are in a very clunky industry, real estate in general. The way that you practice in Orlando is not necessarily the same way you practice in Miami, or maybe even in Jacksonville, and certainly not in New Jersey. And I think that, while we're very fragmented, this has given us the opportunity to kind of look at what we do as professionals and figure out how to do it better, how to do it more effectively, more efficiently. We were joking a little bit before about virtual home tours, right? You guys have been way out in front of that, and you're doing it every Thursday, from what I understand. Yeah. We at 21 just made that available on our century21.com global website. So now you're able to post a virtual tour with, whether it's going to be, your cell phone and doing it via video, whether it's through Facebook or an avenue like this, you're able to go out there and post it onto century21.com for the whole world to see. And I think that, this is going to force us as professionals to be better, and it's going to result in a better experience, as David knows that we're big preachers of, for the customer, for the end consumer. They're going to have a better experience, and that's because we're stepping up our game here.
Yeah.
Right. I also just love that, this has really kind of required all of us to get comfortable with video content. And I think that's just going to lend itself even better for us being able to provide virtual, but really, personalized virtual experiences of homes. We may not feel comfortable / necessary to go and show 60 homes in person to our buyers anymore. It may be a situation where we do a lot more virtual. Obviously, I think people probably, before they make that final step, are going to want to see it in person. But, I just think that we're getting a lot more content of the homes out there. But so important to have that interaction with the actual agent, and for them to be there to, just facilitate that virtual experience, but also to get additional information. And of course, to have all of the other information, from mortgage to inspection to all that ready. So while, we're going more virtual, we're still people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much a touch it and feel it type person. Even when I shop for clothes or whatever it is, I like to feel it. I like to be there. I like to see it up front. And certainly people and consumers are going to want to do that with the very biggest investment and very biggest purchase they make. I mean, Dana, you made a great point. While we become a lot more efficient, I've talked to agents who, in some marketplaces, it could take you an hour to an hour and 15, 20 minutes just to drive to a listing appointment. Or, think about how many, buyers reps out there are, like, as you said, Dana, hitting 3, 4, 5, 10 houses over a weekend. And it's like, how much time they're spending in their car, burning in gas. There's a way to peruse the marketplace and, from a professional standpoint, offer all the value and maybe clear out some of those houses or markets or neighborhoods we don't want to see, and really dial into the markets we do or the homes we do. And look, I say this all the time. There's 180 steps in the home buying and selling process, from the time that you write an offer to the time that we hand those keys over to deliver that dream of home ownership. And to your point, there's so many ways that we're helping the consumer to navigate that. And, one of the things I've been telling everybody is, look, as real estate professionals, our value has exponentially grown in the last 6 to 8 weeks because there's a little bit of uncertainty, because the market's changing, because inventory is different, because prices are doing something different, because mortgage rates, as you just mentioned earlier, just in a little movement that we've had over the last few weeks, that could add thousands and thousands of dollars of your purchasing power. And it's that type of education we need to bring to our consumers. That's where our true value is. Our true value isn't in, showing off a home. Our true value is in navigating that 180 step process.
Yep.
So I had a quick question for you. It also relates to the one that's on the screen right now. One of the reasons when people ask me, why am I with Century 21? I really love the technology. And you mentioned the open house thing. Is there, what are some other technology things that you're talking about that you think we elevate better than our competition?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the great things that we've done just as a Century 21 brand, and Dana mentioned it a little bit earlier, is, and David, you've heard me say this, the best thing about the brand is the people. And we've been able to, over the last 6 weeks, bring in all types of folks from our industry, meaning, as you said earlier, Jared James and Mike Ferry, and we've got Tom Ferry coming up, and Dr. Lawrence Yoon, and Brian Buffini in the early part of May, and so on and so forth. But we've also been able to collectively, through Facebook Workplace, share so many best practices, share so many great success stories, share a lot of what I would say was, a very fast moving change in what we do as professionals. We're out there, the first ones communicating with one another about how to go out and look at the CARES and PPP Act for not just our broker owners, but also for our 1099 sales professionals. We're the first ones.
That was huge, by the way.
Yeah,
Huge.
I mean, look, it's literally taking the global network and the power and the knowledge that exists in it, and wrapping them together, just like you guys are doing right here for your community. We're able to do this across the globe. I mean, just as a quick example, we had China on the phone kind of taking us through their CEO, where we have 5,000 offices and 30,000 plus agents who went into this in January of this year, and we're kind of slowly coming out of it while we were starting to go in, explaining to us what this was going to be like, and be able to leverage that knowledge and put together programs and training. And like right now, we have this 100-day business planning session that's going on, which we actually stole from the Chinese, who put it together as they were coming out to get their sales professionals to focus on the little things that would help them still propel to their business plan and personal goals for the year. So, I think there's a lot of different technologies, and I say this all the time, guys. Any different brokerage across the country uses, call it 6 to 12 different technologies to weave all together. And some sales professionals use it, some don't, some like it, some don't. At the end of the day, if it makes you more effective and more efficient, go out there and do it. And we've got so many that are available to you on c21 and at c21.com. But like at the end of the day, really the power is in the knowledge that we have as an organization, getting everybody together and forcing people to be better and sharing those best practices. That's where I think the technology has been a big win for us in this type of connection.
The technology has been great. I know that some people have been talking about bringing, with our business builder platform and our Zap I've heard, maybe you can answer this. I've heard there's something else out there in the works that's kind of to bring them together, to kind of make them a little bit more user friendly. That was from one of our agents here. I told him I would ask you. I've asked you. So here.
No, it's great. It's a great question. And so this is how I analogize it, David. So here, as I said earlier, there's a lot of different technologies that are out there. In fact, I go to NAR every year, and if you walk up and down the NAR trade room floor year after year, there's hundreds to thousands of technologies, from the very start of the process, meaning your CRM, your contact management, your database, all the way through closing documents and tools like Dotloop and SkySlope and all those types of transaction closing technologies, and then everything in between. And so what we are doing, what we're working on in partnership with Realogy, our parent company, is a platform that will be an open architecture platform, where essentially I analogize it to a dresser. Let's pretend you have a dresser in your bedroom, and in one drawer you have the socks, in another drawer you have your underwear, your t-shirts, your ties, so on and so forth, right? So what this platform will be able to do, this open architecture platform, is allow us to take something great like Business Builder or something great like Zap and plug it into one of the dresser drawers. And then you can take things that you love to use locally or that work for you in your local marketplace or as part of your business strategy, and put them in the other drawers as you see fit, and then allow the entire dresser to basically talk to one another from point A through point Z. So while a lot of our competitors are going out there saying, hey, we want the end-to-end platform, we already know that doesn't work. There's no two agents in the world who are going to use the exact same things from one end of the spectrum to the other. It's just not, it's not common sense for the real estate industry. And again, like I said, in one part of New Jersey, there's a certain way to close deals. And in the southern part of New Jersey, you close them completely different. You need two different technologies to do it. You need different parts of the process to do it. And, it's just, that's the way it is across marketplaces and across the United States. And so we figured if we can make it through this kind of open architecture platform, we will in the end give our sales professionals and their consumers more flexibility in the process.
That's huge. That's great. We're
excited
happy
about it.
With that. I also wanted to touch on the fact that, when you were talking about that you were reaching out to our fellow Century 21 people in China, that's just another amazing thing that I don't think it really kind of clicked with me yet, that we have the ability to do as a global brand. And I think, we're seeing how that's been just absolutely critical in the medical field, to be able to have that preview of what's coming next, and having the global brand that we do. I'm thrilled that you guys are reaching out and that we're really, trying to get ready for what's coming. So are we hearing like what's the latest of what may be coming?
Yeah. So, David, great question, right? I mean, because everybody's saying, how long does this take? When do we start getting on the other side? And as I said, China, who was literally the first one in and came out of it quicker, explained 4 different phases. And I don't pretend to compare ourselves to China. We're just 2 different countries, 2 different sizes, 2 different people, but yet they are now seeing kind of the darker days pass and more kind of velocity in their marketplace. There's a Newmark Knight Frank report saying that 30 of their largest metropolitan regions saw a considerable spike in the last 30 days in their residential home buying activity. I just read an article a little bit earlier today talking about how even Chinese citizens are now looking back overseas for purchasing in the US and the UK. I was on the phone earlier today with 18 of our global CEOs, specifically from Portugal, where he was talking about ancillary businesses and how to move into the mortgage space and what they've done there, and talking about how now parts of Europe are starting to see the inflection point and coming out of, on the upper side of the hockey stick or the U or the V or whatever you want to call it. So, this too shall pass. I feel like we as a country kind of have seen the darkest points and are now kind of starting to inflect. I'm hearing about showings happening face to face again in California and closings all across the country. And so, as I said, for us as real estate professionals, we've got to focus on the activities that we can control, that we know that we can do. And to me, that's, as you guys said earlier, servicing your community, being in touch with your family, your friends, your sphere of influence, because when this does pass, our value to our clients is going to be this much higher than it was 60 days ago when the market was completely hot and people knew what the prices were. And there are still going to be people who need to buy and sell homes, and we've got to be there for them.
Yeah, I've heard some folks are concerned about there being more foreclosures because of this whole situation. Have you heard anything along those lines?
No, I haven't. But I mean, just in the articles you read, David, I've got to think that there's going to be, some type of spike in short sale or foreclosure. I mean, Dr. Yoon, who's the chief economist for NAR, who's on one of our calls in early April, who's also going to be on this Wednesday. He's going to give us his latest update. But last time I talked to him 2 weeks ago, he was expecting anywhere from a 20 to 30% off range in Q2. And, whether that holds up or not, I'm not sure. And then obviously he expects that to dissipate, into Q3 and later on into Q4, expecting almost for our spring selling season to get pushed into the late summer. But and one of the things he said, you remind me, is that 90% of the jobs that you see lost right now, that are furloughed, that are not working, that he expects 90% of them to recover within 2 to 3 months of this pandemic being suppressed, right? And so we think that it's going to come back quickly, and that's the hope. But if people are losing jobs and not getting back to work, you're going to see, unfortunately, probably some foreclosure activity. And we just got to be ready for that and be able to counsel those people who need to either move into something new or need to get a short sale or need, maybe a short-term rental to be able to be there for them in the community.
Yeah, we've got, what's interesting about I'm going to ice palmitate. I won't let you talk. I get this out of my head. We have a bigger concern is, trying to reopen all of our theme parks. I was talking to a friend of mine, and it's not as simple as just flipping a switch, because you have to think of how many people, how do you social distance at a theme park? And even if you did that, how can you possibly, it's just not as simple as opening up a theme park. So it's a lot going on, and it's a little bit scary here, but luckily I feel like we're on the right path. And
yeah, look, David, I think that, for us, for people in the real estate industry, and we're talking right now about how we open our corporate offices. We have 280,000 square feet, over 1,000 employees. And we're talking about what does that look like as we kind of move back into our new normal, our new reality, talking about how you keep people in their offices or in their cubes 6 feet away from each other, need to be wearing masks in order to enter the building, on days, off days. So look, the travel and tourism industry, and I know that Orlando area is a major, maybe the biggest in the entire country,
few.
rely upon that. And I think that, the good news about us as real estate professionals is that, having a roof over your head, I think will always be in style and, will always be needed here. And that puts us at a good advantage. But, it is going to be interesting to see how some of those other things come back. And, whether that's, sports or travel and entertainment and tourism, it's going to be interesting to see how quickly the pendulum swings back to the other side where people are willing to jump on planes and get into hotel rooms.
Yeah, I wanted to just briefly follow up with the distressed property. I know that I'm not sure if it's a full corporate thing or one of our growth consultant was just reaching out to me and asked for me to be on a corporate board for distressed properties. We were very, I guess, fortunate. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but, back when everything went south, back in, 9, 10, 11, we switched our game plan completely at Professional Group. And we, oversaw hundreds of short sales and foreclosures. And, they have some really unique aspects to them. And thankfully, we haven't seen a whole lot of that for, almost the past, 8 years. But, I think that we will see, I hope, in very small pockets. But we are huge proponents of doing short sales well, so as to benefit everyone who's having to deal with this situation. My heart just goes out to sellers who find themselves in that type of situation. I myself have even experienced that at one point. And so, I'm glad that corporate is being proactive with this and really putting together, because I know just with one of our agents, he's been doing a couple short sales, and, it's like riding a bike to me. I'm like, oh yeah, but it's such an entity unto itself that I think it's great that we're going to be able to help one another understand it better.
And I guess tomorrow, actually, we have an attorney visiting us tomorrow on this same show to talk about foreclosures and short sales. So we don't let our agents do them by themselves because it's just too much liability. We always bring in an attorney.
Yeah, and again, I like Dana, you made a great point there. Is that at the end of the day, we're trying to serve our clients and our community, and look, there are people who are going to need the expert guidance and counsel of a great real estate professional who's been through that process, who can kind of navigate those waters, because it's not an easy process. And so, first and foremost, our industry, most industries are very cyclical in nature. The good news here is, to your earlier point, in 2008 to 2012, honestly, we were the cause. It was real estate and the fundamentals of real estate that got us into that recession. Here, we're talking about a health issue. And once that health issue subsides, I think you look into 2021 and we're going to be back to a lot of jobs in this country and a much brighter days for the real estate market. But, there's going to be a little bit of a speed bump in between now and then. And I think, thank you for doing that for your community. Thank you for, giving us your personal story there and how you, personally navigated that. But, that's why I think our jobs as real estate professionals are so important, not just for the community at large, but for what people and the American dream stand for here in this country and every community across the country.
Well, Mike, I know you're a busy guy. You took time out for us today, and we told you we wouldn't keep you too long. I don't see any more questions in the queue for
Bruce
now.
was asking the stats, the Chinese office's agent stats. You rattled those off. What were they again?
Yeah,
Mike?
so we're up to 5,000 offices in China and close to 30,000 sales professionals. And, talking to Harry Liu, who's the CEO there, I mean, they have seen a flight to quality as we are seeing here in the US. When people are in, more pressured times, when there's a little bit of uncertainty, people are looking and defaulting to great companies with legacy and historical presence that know how to navigate, whether it's 9/11 or the recession that we saw in 2008 or 18% interest rates, right? We're a company that's withstood the test of time, and people are looking for that foundational strength to default to. And so they've seen a bunch of growth. We're seeing a lot of companies and agents interested in what we're doing as a brand because of the stability that we offer and because of our legacy. And I think that's a great thing for all of us, because consumers will hopefully be coming in the same direction. So
I actually have one more question, and I promise I'm going to let you go. What I would love to hear your take on the iBuyer situation. I know we have RealSure, but right now nobody's buying homes. So I think we've just discovered a major flaw in the iBuyer platform, haven't we?
So it's interesting, right? Before this, I said, guys, look, we've had We Buy Ugly Houses in the New Jersey market. I'm sure in Florida as well. There's been a We Buy Ugly Houses, right? The guy who puts his sign up on the telephone pole and says, hey, we'll buy your property for cash, for years. All we did is we stuck an eye in front of it, and it's this latest, greatest craze. So what happens now at the time that consumers need them most? They're out of business. They're not making offers anymore. It's like, is that who you want on your team, or do you want a professional who, like Dana, has seen the ups and downs, who's experienced it all and been through every cycle to be able to get you through and consult with you through, again, your largest purchasing transaction that you're ever going to make, or selling transaction, and the place where you're going to raise your family and make your most intimate memories. I'll take Dana every day of the week.
Yep.
Right.
Awesome. Well, we will be seeing you. I guess we'll probably be seeing you in October, hopefully, if everything goes as planned. And we won't disclose the location. I don't want to upset everybody else on the call. But anyway, and we hope to get the conference. It's not a conference, the 121 event. We hope to have that in Orlando in the near future. It'd be really nice for Dana and I.
Yes, very much love that.
And if we do, I'd expect you guys to have an open house at the office.
I'll make you dinner, man. I've been cooking my butt off during this thing. I mean, Dana, I posted on Facebook. All you have to do is go look at my page. I'm making, pork belly tacos and just everything and anything. My fun thing. Well, Mike, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we hope to talk to you again sometime.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me on the show. Right. Keep up the great work, David and Dana. And thanks for having me again. Congratulations.
Take care. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
That was kind of awesome.
That was great.
Oh, he's left the building. That's how fast it was.
Yeah. Wow. And I don't know who it was earlier. I think it was even Wanzi, which Wanzi's a perfect judge of character. Wanzi was just saying that he seems like such a just down to earth guy. And I mean, I know I haven't really seen him in person, but I know that's what you came back with when you came back from one.
Awesome, right? I mean, very personable. And that's, you can go up to any event that you're, and you can have complete access to talk to him. It's not like it was a little different with Richard Davidson. I liked Richard, but he always had kind of like his little bodyguard or something near him, as though he didn't want to be bothered. And this guy, I mean,
and am I right? Mike has kind of been with Corford for a while. He's kind of like grown up through the ranks, I think. So I think he's kind of got that. He's got the corporation kind of in his blood, and I think really believes in it. And I mean, we know David. It's a fabulous brand. He should be out there making it all the time.
When other agents from other companies say, "Why are you with the brand? You gotta pay them this and this," and I'm like, you know what? It's kind of like a homeowners association.
Yeah,
we just had our roads redone here in my community. There's no way I could afford to do that by myself, but working together, we can do the roads. And it's the same. The technology that we already have in existence and that new stuff he's talking about, don't even get me started. There is so much that can be done when you pull your resources together. And it's not just Century 21, it's Realogy, it's Coldwell Banker, ERA, Sterling Sotheby's, Better Homes and Gardens, and one other one. But all of those together, when we combine our efforts, we get great technology, we get great management, we get just the things that we could never do on our own. So
we get the networking, the referrals going back and forth, the opportunity to do these national things like the distressed property group. And I think as brokers, David, we're very intent on demonstrating to our agents exactly what they are getting for their 6 cents on the dollar. And, I know you and I both believe it is a bargain for what we get.
Nothing is free in life, and that's the best money spent. Well, Dana, it's time. Now, before we roll our end credits here, I do have a disclaimer, so hold on. Let me get this ready to go. See, I've been trying to get our end credits on here so we can hear them properly. And every time I put them on with the original music, so Dana and I can dance out the day, unfortunately, YouTube keeps taking my music away.
They don't like our music, and I'm very upset about it.
So this is temporary music. But we want to thank you guys for watching today. It looks like we had a pretty good crowd. Posted on our playlist. We'll post this later on Facebook, but for now, we're going to dance it out and have a great day.
I'm trying to get with it.
When selling your home, you need a local title expert. Trust the company that's been around your neighborhood for over 30 years. The Closing Agent. Close with confidence.